What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a good Thursday. Going to talk through this small NBA slate. Come back at 7 Eastern, and we'll talk about some NFL. I'm not playing this NBA slate for what it's worth, but I still went through all the games and all the stuff and everything. I just not playing, sitting this one out myself after just an ugly one last night a little bit. But here's what I got for tonight. So anyway, like obviously we have the value in Utah with no Clarkson. And I think, we have it. It's not quite official yet, but he's doubtful. But that's why these guys are popping. For what it's worth, I like George every bit as much as I like Sexton. And you're not getting very different with either of them, but they're both guys who I'm putting down in my core. Again, I was gone most of the day, so haven't updated all my stuff yet. But I really do like both George and Sexton. I have no problem with Markkanen. Or I think it's interesting that Collins at lower ownership. So I actually think that's the route I would go tonight if I was playing. The Spurs are another spot, like just with the injuries and everything, that I'm a little bit interested in. I just can't figure out like if I want to play all this chalk, Paul, Champagny, Castle. Castle's I think the one I've sort of decided that I like the best. Collins being in, I think he's actually a good play as a pivot off of Bassey chalk, but obviously Bassey's a strong play as well. It's hard not to make him part of the core. And those are sort of the guys I'm sort of starting my builds with. I'm going to run some builds from SaberSim and see what we end up with exposure-wise, even though, like I said, I'm not playing right now. But I do want to see what we would get if we ran a build. Those are sort of the main ones. I also think it's worth, one thing I'm going to put in this build is just I want to get at least some Dalton Connect. I don't think it's totally fluky what he's doing. He's not always going to make 9 of 12 threes. He's going to have some nights where he puts up 20, 15 fantasy points. But I think there's enough upside that we have to start taking some shots with him, even at 5K where no one else is going to play him. Just wanted to touch on this game really quick too, because I like both Ivy and Cunningham, and I would probably play one of them in a good portion of my lineups tonight. And the LaMelo thing is just I just can't figure out what to do with this. That benching was so weird. But as of right now, I'm gonna just sort of see what we get. So I put in that stuff. I adjusted projections. Why is it telling me I need to do more? Didn't I put 5% of the? I made that it put Dalton Connect on there. Maybe I didn't do anybody else. Let's just do this and just see what it runs, because obviously we're gonna get at least 5% of that. And we're gonna build. We'll build more than right now. We'll build 20 on the first run, but then we'll redo it with like 100 just to sort of get an idea what we'd get on larger volume. Guys, if you have any questions or thoughts on this one, please feel free to drop them in. Yeah, like I said, the Utah San Antonio game's hard to get away from, but look, the ownership on LeBron is for some reason so much higher than Davis, and that extra 1,000. I think that I would just rather take the shot with Davis and try to get that 70. I don't think I need to play the chalk LeBron, but I'm also don't have like a major issue with it. I also really like Franz Wagner on the other side of this one, and his ownership I feel like should be a little bit higher. So I'm actually going to make sure I have at least 10 of him while we're building these. And yeah, we're still waiting on news as always. We're never not. Yeah, it's the Conley and DiVincenzo. We really don't know. So that's going to have a lot to do with what happens with the slate, and that might even be after lock, to be honest with you. So it's going to be a little bit tricky, and maybe is a reason why you could avoid the Detroit-Charlotte game. I just happen to kind of like that game myself. All right, let's rebuild with 100. I didn't think about Randall as I need to run a contest. I don't have any tournaments that I'm playing tonight, so I can't run the sim. But you can see it's giving you all the Sexton without running the contest sims. And I love the Collins idea. He's actually, the ownership's just popped up a little bit on him. I don't know why he was projected like a 12, 15% earlier today. This is sort of, makes a lot of sense. They're getting to LeBron about with the field. I like the idea of forcing in some AD. So I like AD, and I do like, let's get 10% of them, and let's also get 10% of the what was the other play that I was mentioning before? We already have the Franz, but I'd actually have to let's get a little more Franz. I'm going to go higher, and let's just rerun and see if we can get a little less LeBron. Not that I mind LeBron terribly. I just think Davis is a good play. All right, so let's rebuild. Oh wait, that should have applied. Let's see. We should have it now. Sorry. Yeah, it's basically giving you all the Sexton. And like I said, I like George just as much, but it's kind of hard not to argue for both these guys in this slate, and really a game stack of San Antonio. You can see that of the stacks, Yeah, we've got 100% of Utah San Antonio. I have at least 2 on each side. And I think that's probably the way to go. Oh, thanks, TJ. Yeah, I couldn't get the right mix yesterday, unfortunately, even though I had some reasonably good takes. I have a tremendous headache right now, guys. I'm going to probably get out of here if there aren't any questions and stuff. We ran the build. We talked through it. It's a really small slate. Waiting on the Timberwolves news. Obviously, I'll update anybody in Discord with what I'm doing there. But again, I'm not really playing much today, or what I would do, I should say. And like I said, we'll be back a little bit later. So the Julius Randle one, just to answer that question, because I guess I didn't exactly answer it. It's not giving me much of it. I don't mind it, but I don't feel like there's like anything that stands out tremendously. I like the idea. You know what I would like to do? I'd like to get more Naz Reid. I like that play. That's where I've settled on the getting different. Get at least some of the Naz Reid. Anyway, fellas, I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Like I said, we'll be back in about 50 minutes to do some showdown stuff. I am playing the showdown tonight and talk through it with Sheets. I've got some plays I like to get a little different at captain, and we'll go through that in about an hour once we get all the stuff. TJ likes black for value. I don't have an issue with that. I didn't get to, again, I only got to 3% in this particular build, but I wouldn't mind it. It's not usually my favorite guy to go to for value, but it is reasonable. I actually kind of like the Jonathan Isaac a little bit better, to be honest with you, than black, especially in this matchup. I just feel like they're going to want his length. Maybe he gets up to 20 minutes, which we don't usually get out of him. So that's something to consider. Anyway, please, if you guys don't mind dropping a like on the way out of here. Like I said, small slate, not a ton to go through. And we're still waiting on some news, unfortunately, but we will be back with football in 50 minutes. And I'll talk through whatever of the NBA we didn't get to, because really the only thing we have to make decisions before then is what are you going to do with the first game. And as of right now, LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Bridges all seem like solid. They're the ones I would be heavier on. I don't want to take the value pieces, so I might actually just manually put them at 0 if it was me tonight, just because I think you're going to end up with some more value in the Minnesota game, just if either of those guys are out. And I would rather go that direction myself. So I'm gonna get rid of the other. Graham Williams is playing enough here to where I'll just leave it. Okay, let's leave it there. And then Cody Martin, we will make 0. Let's just see what it does to the builds. I don't know if we need to do the Cody Martin thing. It's fine. It's just, we know what it is. We know what the play is, right? If there's the playoffs, we love it. But yeah, it's going to be very, very loaded towards that San Antonio Utah game. And anything else you do is going to be a little bit different. If you can find yourself to stack this Toronto Minnesota game, it's really hard to play Toronto at these prices now with Scotty back. But look, it is contrarian. It's something you can consider. Podol's been awesome. Maybe you take a shot with Podol. All right, fellas. Good luck to everybody tonight, and I'll see you guys in about 45 minutes to 50 minutes for